Hi, boss. Naka-mute po yata.
Magandang araw po mga kaibigan. Pasensya na kayo. Nagkaroon ng konting glitch. Thank you. At tayo po'y magsisimula na sa ating talakayan. Isa pong mahalagang bagay sa ating ekonomiya ay ang enerhiya. May kuryente ba? May gasolina ba? Kaya ba ito ng taong bayan? Meron pong deregulasyon pero pinakinabangan po ba ito ng madla? Ano po ba ang sitwasyon? Ngayong araw na ito, pag-uusapan natin ito sapagkat nagdesisyon yung Shell na magsara ng kanilang refinery. Mawawala ng trabaho yung ating mga kababayan. Pero anong impact nito sa ating supply? Noon, Big Three, ngayon, dalawa na lamang. May programa ang pamahalaan tungkol po naman sa renewable energy. Meron po ba tayong nagagawa na rito? Magkakatotoo rin ba ang joint exploration sa pagitan ng China at Pilipinas sa West Philippine Sea o sa South China Sea? So ngayong umagang ito, kasama po natin ang ating mga resource persons, si Undersecretary Felix William M. Fuentebella. Siya po ay Supervising Undersecretary for Energy Policy, Planning Bureau ng Department of Energy at siya po ay tagapagsalita rin ng kagawaran. Si Attorney Victorio D. Magiba, dating Undersecretary ng DTI, na ngayon po naman ay Pangulo ng Laban Consumer. Makakasama rin natin si Attorney J. Batong Bakal, Associate Dean ng College of Law ng University of the Philippines. Si Ginoong R.J. Javellana, Pangulo ng United Filipino Consumers and Commuters. At si Ginoong Yeb Sano, Executive Director ng Greenpeace sa Southeast Asia. Let's start with our good friend and kababayan, si Undersecretary Wimpy Fuentebella. Please give us a brief update. Good morning, Undersecretary.
Good morning po sa Gabos. Good morning po sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat po sa pag-imbita sa Department of Energy at natutuwa po kami magkaroon ng input sa ating mga panelists, sa ating mga kasama ngayong umaga at kung ano po ang interest natin para malaman natin kung paano tayo makakaambag sa pagkakaroon ng sufficiency sa ating energy at saka kung paano po tayo makikipagtulungan sa isa't isa dahil kasama po tayo sa isang sistema, ano yung mga bagong teknolohiya at ano yung hakbang natin patungo sa mas magandang kabuhayan dahil nagkakaroon tayo ng sapat na enerhiya at meron tayong mga pagkakataon sa pakikiisa, no? Sa dagdag na energy investments, dagdag na trabaho, sa kalagitnaan ng laban natin sa COVID. So maraming salamat. Magandang umaga po from the Department of Energy.
Simulan po natin doon sa Shell. It's a corporate decision, all right. Pero how will it impact on the supply and the prices sa ating bansa?
Una po, wala po tayong nakikita na impact nito sa ating supply. We were assured by the energy players and we also verified na meron tayong sapat dahil ito po namang pagkuha ng produkto ng petrolyo para sa ating mga kababayan nagagawa sa dalawang paraan. No? Pwede siyang kumuha ng crude na i-refine pa nila at pwede rin po silang kumuha na ng finished product. So nagkaroon po ng decision ng Shell na isara yung kanilang refinery pero tuloy pa rin ang kanilang pagnenegosyo at pagkuha ng finished product. So mag-i-import po sila ng produktong petrolyo and we notice naman sa ating mga gasolinahan na they still have the services. So it does not affect po the supply nor does it have that much of an impact sa prices.
Paano po naman kaya yung ating mga independent players? Where will they source yung kanilang petrolyo? Puro imported na po ba ito tulad rin ng Shell?
Ganun po ang nangyayari even before. So they are importing. Kadalasan ang dinig ko is they are importing from China. So ganun po yung nangyayari ngayon. They import the finished product. So they supply here in the gasoline station.
I see. Pero paano po ngayon yan? Meron din tayong mga maliliit na players who rely on imports. Gaano po kabilis, gaano kabagal ang pagbabago sa presyo sa merkado sa Pilipinas kung ihambing natin sa world market?
Okay. Ang pagbabago po sa presyo ay ginagawa natin dito sa Pilipinas weekly, no? Para dati po kasi ito ay buwan, no? Buwanan. Kaya lang masyado nang malaki yung adjustment minsan at nagkakaroon ng shock sa presyo yung ating mga kababayan. So nagkaroon tayo ng palisiya na gawin siyang weekly, and dahil po ang trading ay nangyayari Monday to Friday, so yung Friday po tinitingnan na yung presyo at ina-apply po yung adjustments sa kadalasan po Tuesday. So yun po yung latest. So every Tuesday po nagkakaroon ng movement, no? Adjustment sa prices. Yung ibang mga kumpanya ng petrolyo ay nag-move po ng prices sometimes earlier, no? Sometimes Monday, sometimes Saturday. So depende po sa kanila 'yon dahil sila po ay naglalaban-laban. So kanya-kanyang panliligaw sa ating mga consumer.
Okay, pero mas madalas po ang nangyayari kung ano yung nababanggit noong mga ilan nating kababayan sa Department of Energy, yun ang nagiging presyo.
Ganun po. Yun po yung parang kinasabi nating common price, no? O yung adjustment sa pagbili nila ng naputol po ba ako? Yun. Sa pagbili nila ng kanilang produkto sa international market. Pero ang sinasabi po ng Department of Energy, iba po ang presyo dito sa retail. So ibig sabihin, iba ang presyo sa halimbawa sa EDSA kung ikukumpara natin sa Congressional Avenue, ikukumpara natin sa Rizal Avenue na mga gasolinahan. Iba-iba po yung presyo. And ang maganda niyan, may nakita tayong app, consumers app siya, no, sa Waze na pinapasok po ng mga consumer yung mga presyo sa mga gasolinahan at nakikita natin. So meron tayong napapakita ng app sa ating mga kababayan na I also showed it sa mga radio stations para ma-visualize ng ating mga kababayan na iba-iba yung presyo sa mga retail stations. Dahil ito po ay nagbabakbakan sila, nagliligawan, hindi lamang sa presyo. Pati na rin sa serbisyo, yung iba may mga pwedeng i-check yung mga gulong, pwede po bang i-check yung windshield, lilinisan. Yung iba may tindahan, yung iba sobrang linis ng kanilang mga banyo. So, yung iba merong mga dagdag pang mga diskwento. Meron pang partnership sa mga grocery stores. So, kanya-kanya po silang kompetisyon. Kanya-kanya silang papaganda ng imahe para makakuha ng mga buyers ng kanilang produkto.
Mr. Undersecretary, may nagbibiro ang pinakapakinabang daw dun sa deregulation. Nagkaroon ng access sa comfort room yung mga mamamayan sapagkat hindi na magkakasakit sa bato dahil naman sa traffic. What would your reactions be?
There are a lot of things that the consumers can enjoy. Because, for example, if you are a patron of one of the grocery stores dito, you can look for the partner also na gasoline station. Sometimes the price per liter umaabot ng diskwentong 2 hanggang 5 piso kada litro. So it's really a matter of packaging ng mga tindero, ng mga suppliers natin. Pero ang maganda diyan, pag naggugrupo yung consumers, tulad ng paggugrupo ng ating mga yung mga taxi driver, yung mga public utility vehicles, and what we're doing now with the agri sector, yung paggugrupo, paglilinis ng listahan ng Bureau of Agriculture and Fisheries Engineering para mapakita, no, that they are a potential group that can be ligawan ng ating mga gasolinahan. So we see also na magkakaroon ng benepisyo sa food security sector. So we're looking at all these na makakatulong sa consumer because the Secretary Cusi, parati niya kaming china-challenge, if not monthly, minsan weekly, lalo na this COVID, ano pa ang pwede nating gawin for the consumers? So hindi lang paglalabas ng mga policies, kundi ano pa yung mga existing or operationalizing all these policies na ma-enhance pa natin na makikinabang yung consumer. Minsan nakakausap natin sila Yusek Dimagiba o minsan nakakausap natin yung mga friends natin sa media para magbigay din ng mga information. Pero sa DOE po, we can always get this forum or consultation para ma-improve natin kung ano pa yung mga serbisyong pwedeng ibigay. Especially so, na sinabi ni Pangulong Duterte, huy, kayong mga nasa gobyerno at saka kayong mga nagpo-provide ng mga serbisyong yan, make sure that the consumer welfare is protected at all times.
Yeah. Do we have any idea as to our consumption? How many barrels or how many liters do we consume before the COVID-19 and during the COVID-19?
Yes, we do, but I did not memorize, sir. I can give it to you later. But yes, we do.
Yeah, okay. We will fan it out to our colleagues from the media who are covering us today. Okay? Sandali lang po. Kasama rin natin si RJ Havillana mula po naman sa mga pasahero. RJ, ano na po na mong sistema, anong trend ngayon na may COVID-19? Wala rin transportation. Teka, unmute natin. Sandali po. Yan, okay. Yes. Oops, sandali po. Go. Okay.
Isang magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Una po sa lahat yung ating mga pasahero ngayon sa panahon ng pandemya ay talaga nga naman isa po sila sa masasabi nating nahihirapan. Bunga nitong krisis na kinakaharap natin. Kasabay po niyan, syempre yung tinatawag na pag-iingat para tayo ay maproteksyonan yung ating mga sarili. Pero bilang consumer and commuters ay ang laging iniisip ng mga mamimili at mga mananakay ay syempre yung halaga po ng mga bilihin na kung saan ay malaki po ang papel ng mga produktong petrolyo. Bunga po nung sinasabing mga patakaran ng ating gobyerno, halimbawa po yung oil deregulation law at itong mga pangyayari na kung saan ay nagpapabibigat sa ating mga pang-araw-araw na pangangailangan, ay tila nakukulangan po tayo dun sa direktang aksyon ng Department of Energy at ng iba pang mga ahensya. Bakit po? Sapagkat ngayon pong panahon ng pandemya ay sana ay narinig po natin ang mungkahi ng DOE na magkaroon ng tinatawag na proteksyon ang ating mga mamamayan, lalong-lalo na po dito sa issue ng pagpepresyo para masabi natin na talagang napoproteksyonan po natin ang interes ng lahat. Kasama na po ang mga nagnenegosyo, lalong-lalo na ngayong panahon ng krisis. Ang isa po sa tinitingnan dyan ay yung halimbawa po yung sinasabi po na Oil Price Stabilization Fund na sa panahon ng krisis ay kakailanganin po at yung sinasabing pagkalas din po dun sa oil dependency ng supply. May mga iba pong mga bansa na kung saan ay lumalayo rin po sila dito sa pagsandal o sa pagsalig sa napaka-volatile na sitwasyon ng mga presyuhan ng langis at lumilikha po sila ng mga alternatibong sources ng enerhiya. Meron po dyan yung dito sa ating bansa, sinisimulan na nga po itong mga alternative energies. Kasama po dyan syempre yung pagtatayo ng mga safe na planta nuklear. Halimbawa po yung Bataan Nuclear Power Plant para bumaba po ang presyo ng enerhiya tulad po sa kuryente at ganoon din po dito sa mga gastusin natin sa petrolyo.
Okay. Alright. Babantayan natin yan, RJ.
Opo.
Pakinggan naman natin si Attorney Vic Di Magiba mula po naman sa Laban Consumer, dating Trade Undersecretary. Vic, good morning. Yes, please.
Hi, good morning. Good morning,
Morning.
ha.
Yes.
Sorry, medyo late, ha. Yusek
Na-traffic.
Wimpy, kamusta ka na?
Na-traffic. Sige. Your
Na-traffic.
reactions doon sa pagsasara ng Shell, ano impact nito sa atin? Yung ba mga batas natin, angkop lamang sa pandemya? Makatutugon ba sa pangailangan ng taong bayan? Please go ahead.
Sige. Konting historical background lang, no?
Belated happy birthday nga pala.
Ay, salamat. Konting background lang, Melo, no? Saka kay ISO PJ, nandiyan ka
Hi
pala.
sir, good morning. Happy
Tsaka
birthday
si
po.
Yusek. Thank you. Tsaka si Yusek Wimpy, no? Alam mo, nasa Department of Energy ako during that time. Yung plano ng Shell na iwan yung refinery niya dito, urong sulong yan, Melo, no? Siguro, I don't know kung alam ni Yusek Wimpy at ni PJ, no? Halos 20 years ago na, lagi niya sinasabi yan. In fact, yung kanyang IPO, yung 10% na dapat ari ng public, halos 20 years din yung na-delay, no? In fact, na-implement lang yun November 2016, ano? And then very recently, Melo, binenta rin ng share yung kanyang LPG business, In fact, wala nang Shellane ngayon. Ampol Malete, Solane. No? Baga parehong sound pero hindi na Shell. No? And ito yung decision nila na into yung refinery. I think ako parang tinitignan ko, meron yatang pattern. No? Meron yatang pattern sa isang malaking multinational oil company na i-downgrade yung kanyang investment sa Pilipinas. No? At meron pa isang darating, meron pa sila isang malaking project sa Pilipinas sa Melo, in case you forget, sila yung operator ng Malampaya Gas. No? Alam naman ni Yusek Wimpy yan, that contract is also expiring, I think, in 2024, 25. At wala pang maliwanag na decision ang DOE, ang government, kung ito i-extend o hindi. No?
Mm-hmm.
So having said that, parang hello yan. Asan ba ang Shell in terms of maintaining their investment in the Philippines? Kumagaya ng yun ang gusto ko lang ihimig, no, at this time. Dahil papasok ka sa negosyo na importer ka ng fuel products, ang dami ng importer na fuel products at Filipino companies, Melo. In fact, yan yung naging product o naging output ng oil deregulation law. At malalaki din yung ibang importers. Hindi lang basta maliliit. Ano? So at the moment, may assurance ng DOE na supply will continue. Definitely, supply will continue kasi i-import din nila. No? But ang challenge dyan is, yung challenge dyan sa Shell, sa atin, no, we should monitor the market behavior of a very big importer, no? Sabi itong kumpanyang Filipino-owned na lumago din ang negosyo dahil sa importation, no? Hindi ko alam kung magkakaroon ba ng dent, madedent pa ang mga negosyante Pilipino who are importers dahil lang kalaban nila ngayon tumigil na sa pagre-refine at saka magiging purely importers, no? That should be closely watched kasi although may pricing formula nga tayo na mean of plus Singapore at saka hindi naman siguro gagalaw ang Singapore market dahil mag-i-import ang Shell ng malaki, maliit lang naman ang Pilipinas sa mapa ng Singapore market. Yun ang kailangan tutukan, no? Yung bang pricing ng produkto ngayon at the moment will be stable in the sense na hindi maagabyado itong mga Pilipino. Yan ang aking gustong ihimig at the moment dahil may history na yung Shell na umaatras talaga. Umatras ng 2 beses sa negosyo niya sa Pilipinas na malalaki. No? Malalaki. Oo.
Okay. So babantayan natin yan. Tatanungin natin si Undersecretary Wimpy Fuentebella kung ano ang kanilang monitoring dito sa mga kaibigan natin sa Shell. Sapagkat meron din silang investments sa ibang bansa. Yusek Wimpy?
Yes, sir.
Please, come in. Tell us your views about this.
Yeah, yung tama po yung sinabi ni Yusek de Magiba, no? Matagal nang sinabi ng Shell na tinitingnan nila kung papaandarin pa nila yung refinery nila or not. Ang sinasabi nila noon pa, I think I read this sa book ni Ronimo Velasco. yung sa history ni Yusek de Magiba noon,
idol.
Economic viability. No?
Sorry, idol namin.
Parang sinasabi po nila na kung papaandarin natin yung refinery, ano yung pros and cons versus kung magiging importation company na lang tayo. Pero at the end of the day, ang kailangan pa rin ma-monitor natin yung logistics, no? Logistics ng ating mga negosyante sa petrolyo. Dahil it does not end with importation. Dapat umabot yung produkto nila sa bawat sulok ng kanilang retail stations sa buong kapuluan ng Pilipinas. So, dahil dyan, tinitingnan natin, marami pa rin mga Shell na retail stations. Nagkaroon lang ng disturbance, nagkaroon lang ng pagbabago doon sa panggagalingan ng produkto na umaabot sa ating mga retail stations. At meron silang formula kung ano yung advantage at disadvantage ng pagpapatakbo ng refinery versus, kukumpara lang, kung magkakaroon ng importation ng finished product. So, nagkaroon po ng shift kasi nung panahon yata nila Yusek de Magiba ito ng malaking pagbabago sa setup natin dito sa petroleum companies, no? Ayaw na ng pamahalaan noon na sumali sa negosyo ng petrolyo, kaya binenta natin yung Petron, no? Binenta ng pamahalaan. I think I was in grade school or high school at that time. So,
okay.
Ang naging disenyo po maglaban-laban, no, competition. Kung babalik po tayo doon sa sinasabing may oil industry, oil stabilization fund, OPSF, oil stabilization fund, malaking po yon, malaking shift sa policy that will again require legislation. Pero ang sinasabi po natin ngayon, we don't see naman that much of a disturbance dahil meron tayong sapat na supply na nakikita sa ating mga retail stations. We don't see also any concern from the players nor from the consumers. Although, patuloy pa rin yung pagtingin natin kung tama ba yung polisiya na pinapaandar natin na babagay ba ito sa sitwasyon ng Pilipinas. So, patuloy po kasi yan na nag-uusap either sa Kongreso, parating pinapatawag ang DOE, kung anong mangyayari, kung papalitan na naman natin yung sistema. But we should have also predictability sa ating merkado.
Okay.
So, nakikita naman po natin na stable siya. And are we ready for the shift? No? We are preparing because we are pushing for the alternative fuels, especially the electric vehicles. And the electric vehicles are already existing. We have already electric scooters all around, but we need a dedicated space para makaabot yung mga nagtatrabaho from QC to Pasig to Makati or to BGC and vice versa, na merong dinadaan ng dedicated. Kasi ang usapan ngayon sa mga scooter clubs, no, sa mga grupo, hindi kami dadaan sa EDSA. Pero nagbago na naman dahil meron ng bike lane at meron ding mga pagbabago sa paggamit ng EDSA. So, what we are doing right now sa Philippine Energy Plan, we put importance sa spatial dimension of planning. Yung binabanggit nila Architect Palafox, ng mga environmental planners na tingnan ulit kung saan pwedeng gamitin yung mga makabagong paraan para hindi lang makatulong, no, sa productivity ng ekonomiya, pati sa environment. Paano natin matutulak yung mga new technologies dahil nabago rin, na shake up din yung behavior. So we put premium this time, and we have a public consultation around next week for the Philippine Energy Plan, which tackles the entire energy chain, yung buong value po na nakamapa. Tinitingnan natin yung infrastructure support sa ating mga exploration and sa mga importers, sa mga oil depots, sa mga oil facilities for petroleum, saan papasok yung renewable energy, sa transmission and distribution system, paano makaka-contribute yung RE systems sa mga consumer, whether the consumer is classified as residential or agricultural, or pwede bang magamit ito sa far off na health facility to prepare for the vaccine.
Okay.
Or pwede bang magamit ito sa schools na malalayo na hindi masyadong wala pang magandang sistema sa kuryente. So these are the things that we are looking at, no? In the map, the spatial dimension, para mas matugunan natin not only from the energy monitoring point of view, no? Kasi at the end of the day, ang nakikita natin sa monitoring natin, kulang yung puerto, putol yung tulay, matraffic yung pagbiyahe ng energy product. Kailangan gamitin yung rails. So it's more of a whole of government approach. We will ask NEDA to also react to the draft Philippine Energy Plan. So that's what we are doing right now para mas maging holistic, mas mapalaki yung mas malaki yung planning natin, mas malaki yung imagination natin on how to support ourselves to be energy self-reliant.
Yusek, hindi kaya bina-blackmail tayo ng Shell dahil sa may kontrata rin sila ron sa Malampaya eh. Pagkatapos mag-i-import na sila. Hindi kaya may problema rito? And then, can we distinguish yung importation from smuggling? Because we heard while there are efforts, no, na ayusin yung sistema natin, smuggling has gone unabated. Pardon me, but correct me if I'm wrong, Yusek.
I don't think there's a blackmail going on. Because if ever there is, kailangan naman talaga parating handa ang Pilipinas not to allow ourselves to be blackmailed. But I don't think there's blackmail going on. We have to clarify that. Pangalawa po, yung second point niyo is, sorry, I missed that.
Yung smuggling and importation.
Yeah.
How do we differentiate that?
Yeah, we have numerous meetings with the Department of Finance and Bureau of Customs. Basically, yung pagpasok po ng petroleum products na hindi nagbabayad ng buwis, yung ginagawang smuggling, no, nilulusot, no. Minsan sa pagpasok po dito sa mga point of importation sa mga puerto, hindi nagbabayad ng buwis. Meron tayong fuel marking, no, na itinulak ng Department of Finance. So
okay.
So it's there, no? The program is there. In fact, marami ring mga oil companies na tumutol dito sa fuel marking. But sabi namin, it's really Department of Finance that they should talk to, because as far as the Department of Energy is concerned, we will have to implement the proper collection of taxes. Because under the Philippine Energy Plan also, we look at the energy investments, the taxes, the jobs that are coming in, as far as the energy investments are concerned. So, kasama yun sa mga minomonitor po natin.
Okay. Vic, your reaction, please. Yes, Vic.
Yeah,
Before we go to renewable energies. Yes?
Mamaya na muna yan. Marami pa tayong issues sa fuels. Ano?
Sige, go ahead.
First, yung sa strategic supply ng bansa. No, although Secretary Cusi made an assurance na kahit importer lang ang Shell, we have enough supply. Actually, Melo, meron tayong umiiral na executive order requiring oil companies to maintain certain number of days inventory ng supply nila dito, no? For strategic reason. At inulit ito after the Marawi incident. No? Nagkaroon ng problema ng supply dun sa area Mindanao. At the moment, Melo, kapag may oil refinery ka, required ka 30 days inventory. Kung importer ka lang, pure importer, 15 days. No, I think yung 30 and 15 days were deemed reasonable in the context na yung mga importers natin na hindi naman ganun kalaki ang market share. No? So 15 days, they cannot really carry too big inventory, no? For obvious reason, financial, economics. No? Now with Shell now as importer, meron bang base para i-reviewin ng DOE yung inventory requirement, particularly as apply for Shell, no? That's one. Number two, Melo, on prices, I want to go back to prices. Binanggit kasi ni PJ kanina yan. Alam mo, yung MOPS basis ng pricing, alagang comfortable lahat ng mga importers diyan, Melo No? Comfortable in the sense, wala nagko-complain Ako lang nag-complain sa Philippine Competition Commission. Dahil kaysa importer ka, kaysa refinery ka, yung presyo mo weekly, ina-adjust mo, pare-pareho kayo ng presyo, whether diesel, gasolina, and kerosene. No? Now, with Shell as a mega importer, 1/3 ang market share niyan nakita ba ng Shell na itong MOPS pricing natin is really something that they will profit on more, no, than maintaining their refineries? Kasi baba na ng fixed cost mo ngayon, mababa na ang operating cost mo. Import ka lang, although may terminal ka, malaki yung terminal mo. So, baka dapat din reviewin yon, no, para magkaroon talaga ng competition sa pagpresyo ng produkto petrolyo. Iba yung presyo sa trading area, Melo. Sa trading area, depending ang presyo niyan, iba-iba. No? Kasi iba-iba din naman yung tao mo doon, iba-iba yung merkado mo doon, iba yung basic price mo. But when you come to the weekly adjustment, pare-pareho. Kailangan bang ipa-aerial ito with Shell na being imported o talagang gawin na natin kung ano ba talaga yung presyo ng pagbili nyo?
Okay. Alright.
Hindi, isa na lang. I-connect ko to sa isang point. It's very important. Ito siguro for USEC Wimpy, nagkaroon tayo ng 10% additional tax for COVID. No? Lahat tayo, mga consumer, nagbabayad tayo. Doon mismo sa data ng DOE, Melo, makikita mo, iba-iba. Iba-iba ang bayad ng ang kolekta ng mga oil companies, whether importer, refinery. Iba-iba yung implementation nila sa 10%. Sa tingin ko, yun ang talagang tamang pagpresyo ng produktong petrolyo kasi binabase mo sa acquisition cost mo at the time you bought it. No?
Okay.
Iba-iba Iba-iba. Pero bakit pag dito, ngayon, bukas, mag-adjust na naman ng presyo, tingnan yung mga payagan, pare-pareho na ng amount. So I think this is the opportunity to review all these important policies as Shell transition to a refinery to a mega importer. No, hindi lang siya basta yung mga importer na bibili lang, dadalhin ito, bebenta.
Okay.
I think
well said.
dapat siguro natin yun, tingnan natin yun. Yun lang.
Okay.
Yes, salamat.
Thank you.
Salamat.
Short reaction from Wimpy. Yusek?
Yes, sir. Si Secretary, parating continuous review po kami. So, parating pinapataw yan si Director Abad. O, tingnan mo to. Ito, halimbawa may nabasa siya or may nagsabi sa kanya. We have to continuously review. Tama po yon. Pangalawa, hindi po, it does not end doon sa kasi may disconnect po sa collection ng taxes at doon mismo sa pagtinda. Kasi ang point of collection of taxes ay nandito sa importation terminals. Pero yung babiyahe pa po yung produkto from the importation terminal point A to point B, the retail stations, which is not only point B, it's point B to B 1,000 plus. Halimbawa, ganon. So, sinasabi po natin, yung presyong yon dapat iba-iba din. But sa mga pahayagan, tama siya si Yusek, sa presyuhan dito sa terminal, more or less the same yung adjustments nila.
Okay.
Pero pagdating sa retail stations, iba-iba po.
Okay.
Kaya sinasabi ko, open your ways. Magkano yung presyo sa Cebu City, magkano yung presyo sa Pasay ng produktong petrolyo. Ibang-iba po siya. Magkano yung presyo dito sa Urdaneta, magkano yung presyo sa Baguio. Kasi may biyahe. So, here comes the review of the facilities, the big facilities of the products that also affects prices. So, to make the long story short, the Department of Energy comes out with this policy to unbundle these prices for petroleum products, which underwent a temporary restraining order from the courts dahil we're questioning the DOE daw is violating the regulation law. Sabi naman ng DOE, no. We're monitoring. And that is part of the information gathering from the DOE. And we will not give out the information per company because it violates your competitive rules, competition rules. What we are doing is we're looking at the industry on how we can assist the industry like Shell para makita natin, baka kailangan ng infrastructure support. But nonetheless, it's pending in the courts. We will not stop there. We are continuing to unbundle whether there's a request from the LGU or not. That's what we will do.
Okay.
As far as the taxes are concerned, yes, meron po kasing poder na binigay sa Pangulo na magdagdag ng taxes. Pero ito po ay limited, no? Merong limitation sa paraan ng period or pag nag-recommend si DOE na tumaas na yung presyo sa pandaigdigang merkado, so babalik nun sa dati. So it's really a balancing factor, more of congressional and Department of Finance. But the DOE again is there to provide the technical monitoring and the technical support.
Okay. Mr. Avellana mentioned something about renewable energy. How far have we gone to pursue yung layunin natin magkaroon ng renewable energy in the Philippines, Mr. Undersecretary?
Yes, when the secretary came in, we were surprised. Even we were even ordered by the court, no, na ilabas lahat ng RE mechanisms under the Renewable Energy Law, which was passed in 2008. So 8 years old na siya pagpasok ng grupo ni Secretary Cusi. So even the president in the last SONA, not the previous one, the last year, sabi niya, itulak niyo yung maigi yung renewable energy. So ang nakita po ni Secretary Cusi, nag-focus tayo sa feed-in tariff. Yung feed-in tariff, pinapasa yung dagdag na singil para matulak natin yung renewable energy sa consumers. And that's foul para sa secretary natin. Sabi niya, kawawa naman yung consumer, walang kaalam-alam. And here come the suppliers, mostly are foreign, na sasabihin sa atin, bumili kayo ng renewable energy, makakatulong sa environment. Ito yung bayad, pasa natin sa consumer feed-in tariff. So, sabi ni Secretary, wala bang ibang paraan? So, tingnan natin, renewable portfolio standard. Yun yung quota system para sa mga DUs. Pero sinabi rin ni Secretary doon, Yusek Dimagi-Mao is very active here also, nalagyan nyo ng price ceiling. Kung ano na yung presyong binabayaran ng consumers, huwag nyo nang dagdagan. So meron tayong provision doon na pag nagkaroon ng competitive selection process para mag-comply ang isang mandated participant like a distribution utility sa kanilang pagbili ng RE, mag-ano kayo? Magkaroon ng price ceiling, no? Kung ano yung average na binabayaran ng consumer, yun ang pinakamataas. So pababaan. Because the RE sector sometimes boasts that competitive yung prices nila. So, okay. That's one. Secondly, hindi pa tayo tumigil doon. Sa competitive selection process ng renewable energy, meron tayong mekanismong bago na sinulong din ng DOE. Yung Green Energy Auction Program, GEAP na tinatawag natin. Kung saan DOE na with ERC providing that the price protection for the consumers will facilitate the competitive selection para sa mandated participants for the RE. So it helps the commercial side of the renewable energy. No?
Okay.
Number 3, meron tayong green energy option naman, no? From auction to option. Ito, wala nang bidding kasi ang option na to binibigay sa consumers. If you're like a big chain of restaurants or malaki kang mall or resort, if you want to source your power from renewable energy and you are a consumer of 100 kilowatts up per month, pwede kang mamili ng ng supplier mo na RE. So yun yung sa commercial side. Meron pa tayo sa technical side. Sinasabi natin yung competitive renewable energy zone. Sabi doon, kayong mga RE, alam nyo ba kung saan nyo ilalagay yung RE development nyo, yung facility nyo? Sabi nila, kung saan lang kami makakuha ng lupa. Sabi namin, hindi. Ito po yan. Sa transmission line, parang highway yan, ito yung mga entry points, para mga entry sa expressway. Nandiyan, magandang ilagay, gantong technology. Ilang megawatts. So we provided that information to a technical study called the Competitive Renewable Energy Zone. And also, to have the total kwento na pwede ka pang mag-net metering ng RE at pwede ka pang mag-demand side management participation, RE, nilalabas na naman tayo ng 2 policy on that para mag-guide nga yung ating consumers for the RE option. Pero at the end of the day, aside from the technical, dahil libre naman yung nila, no, yung buwis nila sa importation kung RE, meron pa tayong pakikialam sa food security sector, yung pre- and post-harvest facilities na RE-powered para mabantayan natin yung presyo ng hindi lang produktong petrolyo, no? Pati produkto ng mga pagkain. Because meron dyan energy portion sa prices. Halimbawa, sa bigas, it's around 1/4. Kung makakapagbigay tayo ng machinery na RE-powered, ano yung impact sa income ng farmers or impact sa pagbaba ng presyo ng bigas? So, ganun katindi ang RE. Kaya lang, hindi pa siya, parang nagkakaroon ng misconception na malalaking kumpanya lang ang pwedeng mag-participate dito. Hindi. Pwede ang consumers mag-participate dito. Yung solar lighting sa bahay, pwede yon. Yung RE facilities ng health sector sa malayong lugar, pwede yon. Yung RE facility sa isang eskwelahan na malayo din, malayo sa wires, pwede rin. So there are a lot of options to the consumers to utilize this technology. And ang maganda pa po dyan, meron pang ICT, Information Communication Technology, na pwede mong i-control yung facilities mo na may RE sa bahay through your gadgets. So ganyan po katindi yung technology ngayon, and that's what we want to roll out, what we want to prepare the consumers for.
Very good. Yusek, with your indulgence, we have our good friend Yeb Sano of Greenpeace, Southeast Asia. How does Philippines stand with renewable energy compared with other countries in Southeast Asia? Yeb?
Yes, magandang umaga, Melo, at sa ating mga kasamang panauhin. Yusek Greenpeace, good to see you again. Seatmate ko po yan. Ako yan sa meeting kapag kami may starter meeting. Pagpamanin din po ninyo, ako ay nakamas dahil nalabas po tayo ngayon. Volunteer duty po dito sa bike lane sa EDSA. Medyo naman po ang Pilipinas, no, pagdating sa renewable energy sa Southeast Asia. Isang factor po dyan yung absence ng reserves natin ng fossil fuels, no? And dapat i-embrace natin yan sa opportunity. So in terms of development, medyo ahead tayo. Dahil sa policy, sabi nga, 2008 pa, sabi ni Yusek 2008 pa yung Renewable Energy Act natin. So matagal na tayong mayroong policy directions around the acceleration of and development of renewable energy. At alam natin yung mga karatig bansa natin ay dependent din sa oil saka sa maraming reserves ng coal. So isang separate conversation altogether. Pero that's a good segue to saying ang Pilipinas kasi almost all of the power we generate from coal and oil are imported fuel, involves imported fuel. Kaya nga po magandang pag-usapan na mabuti and ma-implement agad yung opportunities for further acceleration ng renewable energy development dito sa bansa natin. Mahirap po kasing we rest on our laurels kahit na nandyan yung ating batas, nandyan yung matinding growth ng RE sector in the past years, pero nag-stagnate po yan. Medyo nag-plateau yan, no, in the last few years. So dapat ibalik natin yung enthusiasm ng investors sa RE at yung sinasabi ni Yusek MP na hindi lamang to sa big players, no, nandyan din yung household level. And I like the word na ginamit ni MP kanina na pwede natin i-reimagine. And hindi pa natin napag-usapan dito itong create ng COVID-19 opportunity. Huwag natin sayangin itong crisis na ito, no? Dahil it is allowing us to in fact reimagine a better normal for all of us. Whether mahanap natin yung bakuna sa COVID-19 soon enough or hindi, I think it's pushing us. This is a reckoning. This is a wake-up call. And sana mapag-usapan na mabuti at magkaroon po tayo ng malino na direksyon. Hindi lamang sa specific aspect of renewable energy, and then nabanggit din kanina yung how we redesign our urban areas, yung transport sector which accounts for about 49% of energy, total energy use in the country. Marami pong pwede i-transform sa ibang sector so that we become more efficient in the use of energy, magiging compatible yan sa renewable energy. And also yung ultimately ang goal natin hindi ma-burden ang consumer, no. Ayaw natin ng kahit anong system na tapos puts the onus on consumers kasi karapatan ng tao yung malinis na enerhiya, karapatan ng tao na may kuryente tayo sa bahay, karapatan din ng tao na meron tayong efficient transport system. So yan po yung initial insight ko dyan sa tanong niyo.
Very good. Short reaction from Vic Di Magiba on feed-in tariff, please. Vic, before we go into another controversial issue. Yes?
Quick lang. Alam mo, pag ako maatin ng mga hearing sa Senado at sa Kongreso, ang unang tanong lagi pag may mga policies, mga proposed law, ano ba ang dating niyan sa consumer? Yan ba magkano ba ang presyo niyan? Ganyan lagi unang tanong dyan. After all those beautiful presentation, tatanungin ka ng chairman ng committee, ano bang hinaharap ng consumer in terms of prices, no? Kasi diyan sa feed-in tariff, maganda lahat yung sinabing programa ni Yusek Wimpi, no? However, pagdating sa presyuhan Melo, just for the record, hindi naman ng DOE ang nagpe-prescribe niyan. May isa pang ahensya,
Energy
yung
Regulatory
Commission. Alam mo, disconnect silang dalawa ng DOE eh. Habang nasa pandemic tayo, Melo, I don't know whether nasundan to ni Yusek Wimpi, nag-issue ang ERC ng order, no? Order that will retroact to 2016, Melo. In-adjust niya yung feed-in tariff for wind energy, for biomass, for solar energy, and run-of-river hydro. In-adjust niya retroactive 2016 up to this year, 2020. No, hindi pa yata ini-implement, pero may order na ERC eh. Baliktad eh. Kasi ang policy ng presyuhan ng renewable energy, under the original policy, dapat ma-degress yan. Meaning, dapat from the basic na establish mo, nung una mo siyang pinairal, over a period of years, bababa siya. No? Dito sa Pilipinas, baliktad. And would you believe, yung Ayala Energy Companies, nag-invest sa Vietnam at saka sa India ng solar energy. Alam mo, peso per kilowatt hour, magkano lang ibabayad sa kanila doon? 2 pesos below. 2 pesos below. Yung India nga, 1 peso and 50 centavos below. Kailangan, ganun din dito sa Pilipinas. So, isa yan sa mga dapat reviewin. Alam mo kung connection ng ERC at saka ng DOE when it comes to renewable energy, hindi discuss natin. Pero pagdating sa consumer, pabor ba sa amin o hindi? Yun yung aking observation.
Yeah.
Kaya mabuting naisasama yung mga points na yun. Kasi yan laging unang tanong Lalo si Senator Gatchel yan, pag open na meeting, alam niyo, nandito si Atty. Limagi ba? Unang tatanungin lang naman ni Atty. Limagi ba, magkano bang presyo niyang policy niya?
Okay.
Yun lang, Melo. Salamat.
Yeah. Yusek Wimpy, your reactions please. Teka, sandali po. Paki-unmute lang. Oops.
Yes, we will look into that, Yusek, Limagi ba? Yung kwento yun about the fit no, yung bagong order. Pero we have to clarify one thing, no? For Secretary Cusi, it's indeed a balancing factor from the required from the Department of Energy. Pero at the end of the day, we side with the consumers. Pag nagkakaroon po ng patas yan na bakbakan, it's consumer po talaga yung point of view na tinitingnan ng Department of Energy. If you notice, the heart of the competitive selection process is we make it consumer-driven. And all supply-driven policies, we cast that aside, no? We throw it away.
Okay.
Ibig sabihin, pag merong pinapaboran na supplier sa isang polisiya, ay talaga pong down na yon. So the feed-in tariff, although it's in the law, doon sa RE law, talagang sa butas po ng karayom kung lulusot yan sa Department of Energy. So we look into it, sir, para mabigyan ng linaw. But lately po with the ERC and the DOE, we are aligned during the COVID, especially in giving that extension of option to pay by the consumers during the pandemic. So we have been proactive in monitoring and looking into the situation, making sure that the market is running, walang disturbance sa supply ng energy services. So the teamwork with the DOE and the ERC is there. Although just like husband and wife, kasi syempre po, husband gives the policy, DOE. Wife takes care of the money matters. No? Sometimes there will really be a glitch sa relationship. Mag-asawa po
Possible na yung...
Pero magkakasundo po yan. We will make the relationship.
Okay. Sige. Now, let me ask you, Yusek. We have colleagues from the foreign press listening to us, watching us. How far have we gone, or can you please update us on the possibility of a joint exploration between China and the Philippines in the South China Sea or West Philippine Sea? Tell us what's the latest score.
Yes, sir. The legal groups between the China and the Philippine team will still meet to discuss the details. So that has been that's the latest for now. The Philippine team, the Philippine legal group, is bound by the provisions of the Constitution, and so we will have to find a way para magkaroon ng joint beneficial agreement or terms para sa dalawang bansa. But at the end of the day, the Philippine team is there to protect the interests of the Filipinos. No? So the Constitution is there, so we will abide by that. Latest is, wala pa po magme-meeting pa ulit po yung legal team natin, China and Philippines.
Do you think we still have the luxury of time, considering that President Duterte's administration is winding up or winding down? Depending on which side of the fence you're coming from.
As far as the energy sector is concerned, tuloy-tuloy po siya. We have to come up with these studies whether it will end during the president's term or it will go beyond. It's part of our job to really come out with these are really apolitical matters. No? Ibig sabihin, hindi siya masasway ng ideology. So it's really karamihan dito science-based. So what we are saying is we have to do it whether it will be concluded during the president's term or beyond. It follows with nuclear. It follows with every other studies that we do, alternative fuels, the RE policies. Tuloy-tuloy po siya because at the end of the day, hindi po mapipigilan ng politics or ng bagong presidente yung teknolohiya, yung siyensya.
Okay, so we have with us Attorney Jay Batong-Bakal from the UP College of Law. Attorney Jay, good morning and welcome aboard. What's your idea of the joint exploration?
Hi, good morning, Melo, and to everyone, good morning. I've been listening quite intently the past few minutes. Let me just say that it's very interesting for me as well because the UP Law Center is now engaged in a project, the Philippine Energy Transition Project, where we are basically going to try to formulate proposed legislation and policies to come up with, to create a decarbonized, decentralized, and digitized energy system. So actually, yung mga discussions dito, more or less are consistent nga with that idea. No? And I'm particularly encouraged by the earlier mention of yung digitized energy system, because that's one component. Yung decarbonization is what we're talking about, yung renewable energy. And the thing that we want to probably emphasize and contribute sa transition project is yung decentralized portion naman. Considering that we are an archipelago comprised of land and water, I think it's a factor that has not really been considered adequately in the initial designs of our energy system in the Philippines. No? Kasi nga 1970s pa yon. But now we have basically the tools and the knowledge and the component to try to rethink that system, no, which I'm sure will contribute to what to the kinds of objectives and goals that have been stated by our different speakers this morning. Now, on the issue of joint development, may relation din yan dun sa renewable energies. Kasi right now, we'll notice that oil prices are basically depressed. They took a massive dip noong May, but right now, medyo nagba-bounce back sila, pero yung overall trend is still down, no? And what that implies is with lower oil prices, parang yung incentive to explore is also not as high or not as urgent at this point, no? Kasi yung urgency na exploration usually comes with high oil prices eh. Kasi the companies have extra money to do the exploration and sustain yung risks bale ng exploration. But now with lower oil prices, parang it's not yet as urgent. You can look at it in two ways dito sa issue natin with Philippines and China. One is it might be a kind of incentive, no, for us. It's a kind of disincentive for us to really push hard and fast on joint exploration because hindi ganun ka-urgent yung needs, and the market basically is not favorable right now. And that means that we can also take our time in really studying how to create this framework for joint exploration and development. No? On the other hand, it could also be seen in another light, and that is that also means na as far as the Philippines is concerned, it will have to forego the opportunities in exploration of the West Philippine Sea. No? Parang it's not going to have as big an impact on our energy needs for now, kasi nga the needs aren't that high yet, no? Mm-hmm. Itong inexplain nga ni Yusek Fuentebella, it's very good to know that, because also in my interaction with both DFA and DOE in the past year on this issue, totoo nga, no, that the government, despite all the atmospherics, they really, our representatives really are intent on protecting our legal frameworks and our constitution. No? Itong nangyari so far, well, yung lumabas na news, remember, nung I think it was February, the DOE reported to Congress na at the last meeting in October, deadlocked yung panels because nga we were, both China and the Philippines were insisting on their respective legislative and constitutional frameworks. So parang wala pang movement. And since that time, due to the pandemic, we've had actually an opportunity to sit back and review and study. And I think we should really study this very well, no? Mahirap nga yung obstacles that need to be surmounted by the two sides, no? Mm-hmm. On this issue, lalo na doon sa legal and constitutional. And in order to find an imaginative solution, no, we really have to be very careful. And it's good to know nga na both on DOE and DFA side, the people really on the ground working on this are also trying very hard to find that solution. Now, I suspect, however, that at minimum we will need new legislation, no, to create a room for joint exploration and development with another country na state-to-state level. Kasi yung current system natin, it's really based on the assumption na ang partner is a private sector, no, a corporation, which means that he or it will always be subject to Philippine laws, rules, and regulations. And now this kind of situation is obviously not the kind of situation that China wants to be in place when it comes in as a joint development partner. Kaya may resistance siya, no? In order to give room for that, no, there really will be a need to adjust legislation, no, at minimum, no,
Okay.
in order to provide a kind of parang, yeah.
Do we have
Sige.
enough time to pass laws in the first place? Because when you get to hear of lawmakers saying sarap ng buhay, what can we expect from our lawmakers?
Yung I don't look at it as a luxury of time kasi that implies na minamadali mo eh. And I don't want it to happen na madaliin mo to just because of the current administration. Tama si Yusek Quintibello doon. You have to look at it from a longer term perspective. Whatever is agreed on, whatever is put in place must outlast any administration, no? Regardless kung anong kulay ka, anong side of the political spectrum ka. After all, we're only one country, the Philippines, and we're faced with only one other country, and that's China. Hindi ito pwede na pabanjing-banjing or pabalik-balik ka like a pendulum, no? Similar to what our foreign policy seems to be like, no, for outsiders and observers, no, when it comes to China, no. Hindi pwedeng ganun na minsan mainit, minsan malamig. Kailangan talagang permanent solution to, long term, and parang yung talagang vision mo for working with another country na also happens to be claiming part of your territory, dapat talagang set yan, no? Hindi tayo pwede magkamali dyan.
Okay. All right. Mabuti naman yun. Hinay-hinay, pero sabi nga sa Bicol, doon. No? Paluway-luway, pero may emphasis tayo dyan. Vic, would you care to react?
Yeah. Attorney J, Yusek Wimpi, eto institutional memory kasi diyan ako nag-umpisa ng career ko, no, ha. Meron pa naman tayong batas, yung PD 334, which has been amended, that created the Philippine National Oil Company. I think Section 2, Section 3, kabisado ko pa ang section number, nakamaliwanag dyan, Melo. PNOC can directly, by itself, or through a contractor, no? Explore, exploit, develop. So, pag-aralan natin ngayon kung may legal team na magmi-meeting, nandiyan pa yung PNOC, buhay pa. And over the years, Melo, ang ganda ng track record ng PNOC, 10 billion ibinigay niya sa NPC noon nung napoproblemang National Power Corporation. I think PNOC is one of a good performing GOCC over the years, no? Second, ang tanong ko, which is more urgent and more current, kahit na magmi-meeting ang mga lawyers, yung bang malampaya contract, na-desisyonan na ba na i-extend yung service contract?
Yan, okay. Let's have it. Yusek Wimpi.
Kasi, dahil bago matapos, alam mo kasi, Melo, yung langis, tsaka yung gas, nandyan talaga sa dagat. Nandyan sa West Philippine Sea. Simula ka sa Nido, sumunod ka sa Masinloc. Lahat yan sa tubig eh. Yung Reed Bank, na-explore din yan ng mga Dutch company ba yon? Anyway, Reed Bank ang tawag doon. Iba na yata tawag ngayon eh. No?
Okay, sige.
So, puro maraming wealth of data talaga sa dagat na yan. Sa part ng dagat na yan.
Okay. Sir, your reaction, Yusek?
Sir?
Yes, please. Oops. Teka, unmute natin. Yeah. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. I think si Sir Javellano would want to react, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Apo.
Okay.
Apo. Meron po akong nais na idagdag. Ang sitwasyon po kasi ng publiko ngayon, ng ating mga mananakay, ng ating mga mamimili sa bahagi ng enerhiya, kuryente at iba pa, ay nasa krisis po sila. Marami sa kanila ang walang hanap buhay, walang pambayad ng Meralco, walang pambayad ng mga mahalagang pangailangan sa pang-araw-araw. At ang ugat nito ay ang isa sa pinanggagalingan ay ang usapin sa enerhiya. Ngayon pong panahon ng pandemya, sana ang Department of Energy ay magpanukala dahil ngayon tayo ay nasa panahon ng pambansang kagipitan sa ilalim po ng pandemya na ito na naapektado ang ating ekonomiya at sinabayan pa ng pag-pull out nitong Shell. Ano po? Kaya na nabanggit ni Attorney Vic Dimagiba itong Presidential Decree 334 na ang Philippine National Oil Company ay actually sa panahon ng kagipitan ay maaari pong lumikha ng mga aksyon ng ating gobyerno para ito po ay kahit pansamantalang mamatnugot sa pagpapalakad po para tayo ay magkaroon ng katiyakan na katulad nitong ginawa rito sa Shell, paano po kung yung mga ibang mga pribadong mga kumpanya ay sumunod sa mga ganyang direksyon. So paano na po ang ating bayan? Paano ang ating bansa? Ikalawa po, sa panahon po ng kagipitan, ay sana ang Department of Energy ay tignan din po yung isang bagay sa nagpapahirap sa maraming mga Pilipino. Ito po yung excise tax sa petrolyo sa ilalim ng Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion 1 na ipinataw po sa atin. Kahit wala pa pong panahon ng pandemya, ay ito ay nagpataas talaga ng halaga ng petrolyo. At ikatlo, yung tinatawag na value-added tax sa petrolyo. Ito yung mga bagay na dapat tignan ng Department of Energy at ipanukala po kay Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa panahon ng kagipitan ngayong pandemya na isang oportunidad na maaring mapalakas po yung sinasabi nating energy independence sa maraming aspeto, renewable, pwedeng nuclear power plant o iba pa. Pero ang mahalaga nito ay handa ang ating pamahalaan para masakluluhan sa panahon ng kagipitan ang mga consumers at commuters po natin. Salamat po.
Okay. Pero ang problema rito, sir, lagi sinasabi ng Pangulo ala ng pera Kaya kailangan...
Precisely. Tama po kayo. Yung sinasabi nga pong wala nga pong pera, ito po ay lalong kaya nagiging mahina yung ating gobyerno ay dahil pinapaubaya lang natin sa merkado. Pero dapat ito po yung oportunidad na tignan mismo ng administrasyong ito yung kanyang patakaran pagdating po dito sa oil deregulation law at mga iba pang mga batas. Para lumakas yung ating gobyerno, pati po yung pakikipag-ugnayan natin, itong sinasabi natin mga joint exploration nito, halos lahat po ng mga nasa sektor ng enerhiya, sa sektor nitong petrolyo, ito po ay pagmamay-ari ng mga tinatawag nating mga banyagang oligarko at mga lokal na oligarko mula sa transmission, generation hanggang distribution at iba pa po. Yan po yung isa sa pangunahing problema ng ating gobyerno na wala sa kontrol niya itong mga pangunahing very strategic na industriya. Itong enerhiya, itong petrolyo na ito. So meron pong oportunidad ngayong panahon ng pandemya at sa ilalim po ng ating konstitusyon, nakalagay po dito sa National Economy and Patrimony natin sa Section 17. Ulitin ko po, Section 17, ang Estado sa panahon po ng pambansang kagipitan, tulad nitong pandemya na ito, kapag kinakailangan ng kapakanan ng pambayan, ay maaaring pansamantalang mga siwa o mamatnugot sa pagpapalakad ng anumang pambayang utility na aring pribado o negosyong pinagkakalooban po ng sinasabing nitong public interest na ito. Ayan po.
Maganda po
Salamat
yan.
po.
Thank you, RJ. Isang problema dyan.
Salamat po.
Yung datos nga, kanong nasa Department of Health, hindi maayos eh. Paano kaya pag nag-take yung gobyerno? Hindi kaya tayo maghinagpis. Ano? Anyway, si Yusek Pantibella. Yes, VP.
Yes, sir. Unang-una, maganda po yung halo ng mga kasama natin sa panel, no? Si Yeb, si Attorney Jay, si Attorney Vic, si RJ. Talaga pong ano ba ang navivision ng Pilipino para sa sarili niya as far as energy is concerned? Kasi ang gusto ang policy natin ngayon nakatutok dito sa mga konseptong users pay. Kung sino gumagamit, siya magbayad. So ayaw ng taga Mindanao na binabayaran niya yung paggagamit ng mga enerhiya sa Luzon. Pangalawa, true cost, no? Kung ano yung kinuha mo, ano yung kinonsumo mo, yun ang bayaran mo. Hindi yung magkakaroon ng subsidies. Pero tama din po yun. We will really have to come up with a more definite stance. No? Kasi sabi nga ni Dean Jay, kailangan medyo consistent tayo. And I think we owe ourselves an apology as far as how we took care of our energy sector, no? Kasi as far as history is concerned, nangunguna po tayo sa renewables at that time. And then here comes the Atomic Energy Law that was passed in 1950s by the liberal stalwarts. Senator Tañada was one of them. It was just President Marcos who implemented it because of the oil crisis. So this is our history. And they made it so politicized to the point na nagkaroon tayo ng pagbabayad sa isang nuclear plant na hindi natin ginamit until 2018. So marami tayong pagbangon na dapat gawin. At yes, hindi lang galing sa ngayong pang-araw-araw ang perspective ng Department of Energy. We look at the entire history. We look at the global situation and we report it to Congress and to the people. And we come up with this plan. No? There is an energy transition going on, whether there's politics or not. The technology we cannot push back. We really have to adjust. We have to take care of our environment, which we were doing before. We are a growing population and we need more energy. And so we also have these external aspects that are affecting our energy policy. And we have to discuss this head on. I'm happy that the UP Law Center is also looking at it, the energy transition. I listened to their webinar. I was attentively listening to Senator Gatchalian, to Attorney si Mona Di Malanta. So we really have to address this squarely, no? Yung mga panukala po ng Department of Energy, yes, we listen to the what's happening on the ground na sinasabi ni RJ kanina, yung mga suggestions ni Attorney Vic. But at the end of the day, it's a fluid or it's a harmonized plan that we should come out with. Hindi siya madali, but we are there, we are present, we're giving so much time and dedicated time and effort here. Yung excise taxes po, it's really a debate dahil malaki po talaga ang buwis na pinapataw sa energy sector sa ngayon. So kailangan lang talagang ipakita, no, yung transparency ng how much per liter or how much per kilowatt per kilowatt hour ang napupunta sa buwis. Para makita rin natin. At the end of the day kasi, pag buwis ang pinag-uusapan, yan yung pangsweldo natin sa sundalo natin, sa teacher natin, sa mga health workers natin na talagang frontliners ngayon. So, we support the government as far as that is concerned. But where do we get it? So at the end of the day, we look at the GDP, we look at the economic growth. It just so happened na nagkaroon tayo ng pandemya, but our economy was doing well.
Yeah.
So how do we bounce back? And yun nga, tulong-tulong tayo kung paano tayo babangon, utilizing everything that we have, using this crisis, how we will reboot, and how we will come up with a better perspective under this new normal as far as energy is concerned. Thank you very much sa inputs po. Maraming salamat.
Huwag ka munang aalis dahil may mga
Hindi naman po ako alis.
Footnote.
Yung sa quiz natin nagmumula, yung mga pangsweldo at pangtustos sa mga pangangailangan ng taong bayan. At sa buwis din natin, nagmumula yung pinaghahatian ng mga congressmen at mga senador sa kanilang mga pet projects. So ganun lang tayong sitwasyon. Mirna Velasco, Manila Bulletin. Mirna, go ahead with your question. Yes, please.
Question for both DOE and si Attorney J. Yeah, kasi you mentioned about legislation just to resolve the problem for the joint exploration between the Philippines and China. What should be the tenor of that legislation? And ano yung anchor naman ng legal argument that's being thought out by the DOE at this point para i-renew yung negotiations with China?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Sino mauna po?
Si Yusek lang muna.
Yusek muna. Okay.
Sige, ako daw muna. Thank you, sir. Ang tinitingnan po ng Department of Energy as far as exploration is concerned, no? Current laws, we push for the Philippine Conventional Energy Contracting Program. But as sabi nga ni Dean, meron po tayong yung rules kasi natin naka-set up na is government contracting with the private sector. At yung government to government pa na meron pang issue ng pakikipag-agawan ng teritoryo, hindi covered. As it is right now, we have to update the exploration laws because that's not the only issue that exploration group is facing. We're also facing that issue, decision by the Supreme Court on who should sign the service contracts. There's also that decision of the Supreme Court on the environment. No? And there's also that decision with a pending court case with the Commission on Audit on the taxes. And these can be cured by legislation. Aside from the fourth nga, yung issue ng mga joint exploration with other countries. So these are the 4 points that we are looking at and we should address. Because if the business environment is very unpredictable, mahirap po talagang sumulong, no? At umandar yung ating mga endeavors as regards exploration and other economic activities in the area.
Okay.
Clarification lang. Can I just clarify some points with Yusek Wimpy?
Yes, Mirna.
Yes. Yung on the signing, that's the JAPEX case, right? Yung jurisprudence, that's the decision of the SC. And second one, because you said na kailangan i-amend ang laws, are you talking about PD 87 when it comes to the amendment of laws?
I think it's really updating kasi yun nga sa pangalan pa lang PD na siya, di ba? So presidential decree, ang tagal na noon. So tingnan natin maigi kung ano yung pwedeng update sa exploration part.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And kay Attorney J, yung proposal niya for legislation. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, dagdagan ko lang. Okay. Tama nga, no? Let's start off with yung sinabi nga ni Yusek, no? PD 87. Kahit yung formal name niya, no, the Oil Exploration Development, Offshore Oil Exploration Development Act of 1972. So that's it's really dated, no? It really dates itself. Yung concerns natin with legislation. Una, to ensure yung tinatawag na no prejudice, no? Kasi yun yung one of our biggest problems kasi is that entering into a joint development agreement might be seen as either an acquiescence, no, or acceptance of China's claims or a waiver on our exclusive rights, no, yung sovereign rights. So the legislation has to make it very clear na any action or agreement that we enter into like this, yung wala talaga siyang prejudice doon sa ating position. It's really more a a pragmatic measure, it has no legal impact. No? And for that will provide some measure of assurance as well as protection for us. No? Pangalawa, yung framework. Kasi you're talking about an agreement with another country. Yung current setup natin is with private corporations. Madaling ayusin yun kasi they are under Philippine law. No? They are not equal to to the Philippines in stature. Pero pag nakipag-enter ka with another country like China, you are both equal, and that means you both have legislative powers, no? And they technically are not bound by your legislation, no? They have to agree to it too. So you have to have that kind of framework, no? Or a legislative framework that accepts that kind of an arrangement. Yung sa ngayon kasi wala. That is a manifestation of the rulings as well of the Supreme Court, no, which always emphasizes, no, that these agreements on natural resources must ensure the sole supervision and control of the state, no. Pag nagkipag-enter ka na agreement with another state, ano ibig sabihin yan? Does that not mean that you are giving up sole supervision and control and you're actually accepting joint supervision and control? So yun very important legal issue yun na dapat ma-address yan ng legislation. There has to be a way to protect us from that kind of parang situation, no? Pangatlo, if you look at all of the joint exploration and development agreements worldwide, no, in all different parts of the world, dahil nga dalawang state yung magka-partner dyan, hindi state and a private corporation, hindi private corporation and another private corporation, meron silang special na regulatory framework, no, for each and every joint development project. It's basically another treaty with its own special legislation to implement that treaty. So we have to also have that kind of legislative framework ready, no, before we really conclude a joint exploration development with any other state. No, doesn't have to be China; it can be any others, but that has to be ready. No, kasi that's another important safeguard for us. No. To make sure that we do not end up being seen as having given up any of our sovereign rights over our own resources in our own territories and jurisdictions. So yun, siguro 3 main points na pwedeng idagdag doon.
AJ, Melo?
Yes, Vic.
Yeah, quickly lang yung while nagsasalita si Yusek Wimpy at si Attorney J, tinignan ko sa Google yung PD 334 na binanggit ko kanina. Section 5, to undertake by itself. No? So if we are looking for a government entity or a national entity, I still believe PD 334, kahit na PD ang pangalan yan, is still a good law. No? Even yung PD 87 na nagtanong si Mirna, no? Sabi ni Yusek Wimpy, sa pangalan lang daw, PD. However, may Supreme Court decision, no? In fact, na-quote pa nga ang paper ko doon na sinasabi ang PD87 is a valid law. So, if we are crafting a policy now, I think we should always, ito is management tool ito We should always look at the past Hindi yung gagawa tayo ng bago ngayon. Kasi baka yung solution mo nandoon sa PD87, nandoon sa PD334, etc. No? Pangalawa, short footnote lang dun sa excise taxes ni PJ. Hindi masyadong napadaanan ni Yusek Wimpy pero debate daw yun Actually, hindi yun debate. Nakapending sa Supreme Court yun. Kami sa Laban Consumer Inc., one of the parties that questioned it in 2018. Sa awa naman ng Diyos, matatapos na yung batas na yun, 2020. 3 years lang yun So wag naman sana magkaroon ng midnight extension yung excise tax. Doon ako natatakot Pag na-certify, baka ma-extend sa 2021. Lalo na ngayon, kailangan natin additional revenue.
Okay.
Yun lang So hindi nasagot ni Yusek Wimpy yung tanong ko sa Malampaya.
Okay.
Meron na bang decision na extend?
Yan.
Wala pa po.
Wala pa.
Just 3 points, sir, if it's okay.
Please,
No?
please.
Number one, yeah, the PNOC was designed to be a total energy company. However, there were legislations even under the oil deregulation law that its budget should go through Congress. So these are the things that we really need to update. No, yung kahit well, yes, PD is valid at sabi ni Supreme Court, batas yan, tama. Kailangan po i-update siya kasi merong mga pinasa tulad ng GCG, merong Philippine Competition Commission. So maraming pumasok na batas na yung exploration po karamihan presidential decree siya. Kailangan pang i-update po at tingnan kung ano yung mga pwedeng magamit natin with the new things that are going on in the energy sector. So yun lang po. We don't discount history. In fact, we really bear this in mind when we come up with the Philippine Energy Plan. But we really have to come up with updates, and I'm happy that the UP Law Center is looking at it also.
Yeah. Okay. Jed Makapagal, please go ahead with your question. Jed. Jed. Okay. Subukan natin. Jed.
Hi, sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, question for Yusek. Good morning. Sir, you mentioned kanina yung sa oil price unbundling, sir. Sabi nyo, kahit naka-TRO, tuloy yung efforts. So, sir, any updates lang sana doon? Thank you.
Yes, please.
There are requests sometimes from local government units for us to look into why are the prices different. And we look at it from whatever data that we have, and then we explain it to them. So yun yung patuloy na effort na ginagawa natin. No? May mga case-to-case that the LGUs need to be enlightened kung bakit iba yung presyo dun sa kabilang bayan, dito sa bayan namin ganito, and anong kayang gawin ng Department of Energy. So meron tayong pinapadalang team to look at the quality, the safety standards, kung sinusunod. And as far as price is concerned, pinapaliwanag natin kung bakit at anong pwedeng gawin ng LGU under the local government code. So aside from that, meron pa tayong effort na minsan pa isa-isa, minsan probinsya, minsan bayan ang kausap natin. So that's what we're doing, Jen.
Okay.
And happy birthday to Alena.
Okay. I have a question for Yeb. Yeb, ano yung mga stumbling blocks for the country to push for renewable energy? I do recall a long time ago, the Philippines was one of the top geothermal producers. Pero mukhang naiwan na tayo. Yung geothermal ng PNOC, yung EDC, binenta pa sa pribado. Ano kaya ang kinabukasan natin? Please.
Yes, magandang tanong yan, Belo. No? May mga iba-ibang factors kasi sa development ng renewable energy. Nandiyan yung financial obstacles, nandiyan yung technical obstacles. No? And yung political natin din. So yung political, hindi natin masyadong problema kasi nakita naman natin yung suporta ng ating mga policymakers para dito. Yung financial, it is always a debate between the economic case for renewable energy. Pero malinaw ngayon, compared to let's say 10 years ago, yung grid parity ng renewable energy, humabol na po yan sa conventional fuels. Kaya hindi na masyadong debate kung affordable ba ang renewable energy o hindi. Ang pinagdedebatehan natin ngayon, wag natin ipasa kung ano man yung mga impacts niya sa presyo, wag natin ipasa sa consumer. Yun ang importanteng debate. The technical side, may mga aspeto yan, both on the technology but also on the readiness of our grid. So actually taking all of the generation and deployment ng ating yung tawag natin na dispatch ng renewable energy into our grid system. So parang more or less it's a chicken and egg problem, pero nasosolve yan unti-unti. And despite all of these hurdles, alam niyo, gusto kong pinupuri ang gobyerno pag may ginagawa silang maganda. And I love what Yusek Winty has said today. No? Yung environmental imperative. Alam natin, yung true cost ng energy generation, dapat kung ano yung true cost niya sa tambayan, sa kalikasan, kasama sa presyo. No? And sinasabi niya na sustainability is imperative. No? Yung nagpapago ang mundo, nagkakaroon ng energy transition sa buong daigdig. Ang
Okay.
pag-iiwanan tayo kung hindi natin sasabayan. At yung geothermal po, nagkataon lang din na halos paubos na yung potential natin dyan. Yung mga commercial reserves ng geothermal na na-exploit na po ng Pilipinas. Pero hindi naman po talaga tayo napag-iwanan. We're still one of the top countries generating electricity from geothermal energy. Kahit po sa Southeast Asia, kahit sa buong daigdig. Ang kailangan po nating habulin yung demand, no? Yung demand. And based on the programs na naririnig natin, nakikita natin, yung renewable auction, it can generate $2 billion of investment. It can drop the electricity prices to 3 pesos per kilowatt hour. Diyan tayo papunta. It's really about price. And sana tulong-tulong nga tayo and treat this pandemic as a reason for us to unite behind that. Maraming salamat po.
Pero yung bang basura pwede pang pakinabangan? Yung bang mga iba pang mga excesses, pwede pa bang pakinabangan and convert them to energy?
Pwede po.
Well, kung pinag-uusapan po natin yung pagsunog ng basura, kung ang tutungan natin ay maayos sa management natin ng waste, wala dapat tayong basura susunugin kasi based on our Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, we should be diverting all of our waste away from our landfills and away from energy generation kasi wala dapat enough feedstock from the waste sector na pinag-usapan ng energy. So, again, it's a good dialogue but magandang magkaroon tayo ng collaboration between government and civil society para ma-evolve lalo yung discussion.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yep. Pwede ka na magbisikleta. I-release ka na namin. Nabala ka na kanina pa. Thank you very much.
Salamat po. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat.
Thank you, Yeb. This won't be the last. We'll have more. Okay.
Good to see you, Yeb.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello. Quick lang, no, para hindi mawala sa context yung tanong mo, yung waste ka mo, energy. May bill sa Senado, si Senator Will Gatchalian, at yung waste to energy conversion bill, pinag-uusapan na yan doon, ang isa lang masilimot na provision doon sa technical working group, i-consider nila yung waste to energy as a form of renewable energy. So, dalawang consumer group ang nag-oppose, kami, tsaka yung grupo na kung tawagin ay Citizen Watch. Okay. Pero hindi pa yun, malayo pa, nasa TWG. But there is a bill on converting waste to energy. Sponsored ni Senator Win.
Okay, let me ask you, Vic. Kami ni Yusek Wimpy, we come from Bicol. No? Merong mga electric cooperatives na hindi mo malaman kung anong sistema. They fall under the supervision ng National Electrification Administration. Pero mukhang iba ang kalakaran sa mga kooperatiba. Kaya may nagsasabi, yung 5 pesos na membership sa co-op is not enough to be called a member of a cooperative. Sabi nung ilan, yung mga cooperatives are kurakutiba. Pinagkakakitaan at hawak pa ng mga politiko. Won't you look into it as well?
Magandang point yan. In fact, hindi lumalabas sa mga pandinig sa Kongreso yung issue na sinasabi mo. May membership fee, 5 pesos? Is that one time or monthly or what?
One time.
One time? I don't think, I don't remember that under the NEA law that is authorized by law.
Batayan natin yung mga cooperatives dahil hawak din ng politiko yan eh.
The distribution utilities as a whole should really be looked into na talaga. So it's really Energy Regulatory Commission and the DOE as far as policy is concerned. So yung NEA po ang in charge sa mga co-ops and NEA has the even adjudicative powers, no? Pag may mga kaso po yung higher officials ng cooperative, Yun po ang nagdidinig, and ang pinakamatinding punishment doon is yung dismissal.
Aha.
So, meron pong ganun.
Yung po bang one grid still holds? Like for example, lahat ng kuryente sa Bicol, kasama muna sa Luzon grid, bago pakinabangan ng lahat?
Hindi po kasi it's more of efficiency that we're looking at.
Okay.
So, what happens is, for example, a cooperative in Bicol like Aleco, magpapa-competitive selection process siya. So, all those connected in the grid can participate. So, even if you're running a geothermal plant in Albay,
yes,
and natalo ka ng bidding ng power plant sa Quezon, so the Quezon plant wins, and because it's the lowest cost.
Okay.
So that's how it is.
Very good. Okay, we're about to close. Siguro, Yusek, ikaw ang pinakauli magsasalita Sandali lang po. Matanong ko na muna si PJ. Ano nakikita mo rito sa mga kinabukasan natin? Ilang buwan from now? May laban ba ang consumers at commuters? Yes, please.
Ang aming pananaw po, ngayong panahon ng pandemya, ay wala na hong ihigpig pa ng sinturon ang taong bayan. Wala na po. Talagang sagad na po. Hirap na siya doon sa pagbabayad ng kuryente, tubig, iba pa. At kung madadagdagan pa itong sa issue ng petrolyo. Kaya kinakailangan po ng agarang hakbang ng pambansang pamahalaan sa pangunguna po mismo ng ating Pangulo na sana'y tignan niya po itong panahon ng kagipitan na ito na isang oportunidad para mapalakas ang kanyang gobyerno. Kaya hindi rin po totoo na kung halimbawa yung usapin ng excise tax, kung matatanggal yan sa petrolyo o matatanggalin, ay meron naman pong mga iba pang mapagkukunan. Halimbawa po, bakit hindi natin tignan yung mga issue ng oil smuggling? Gaano ba kadami o kalaki kada buwan ang nawawala sa gobyerno dahil sa smuggling? Marahil isa rin ito sa mga dahilan ng mga ibang mga kumpanya kung bakit yung kanilang refinery pwedeng kaya nagsara, apektado rin dito sa mga ganitong usapin. So, ngayon po ay oportunidad ng bayanihan, pagtutulungan, pero dapat pangunahan ito ng gobyerno para maproteksyonan po ang interes ng publiko, hindi lang ng mga mananaka, hindi lang ng mga commuters, kundi sa pangkabuuan. Matulungan din ang mga negosyo na bumangon sa pamagitan po ng pagbababa ng tinatawag nating halaga ng enerhiya at tanggalin ito sa kontrol ng mga iilang mga oligarko na dayuhan at lokal na yan naman talaga ang may malaking bahagi ng problema ng ating lipunan.
Okay, thank you. Vic?
Salamat po.
Salamat po. Karangalang makasama ka.
Mabuhay po kayo. Mabuhay po.
Thank you, Vic. From your end, mula sa mga nasa LKI, ano kinabukasan natin?
Ano ba to, Melo? Closing statement na?
Closing statement na tayo. Baka abutin tayo ng panakalian. Wala tayong isi-serve.
Pwede naman pa-deliver
Go ahead.
Maganda yung ating
Naka-mute.
Teka. Sandali, boss. Nawala. Okay.
Okay na?
All right. Video. Go ahead.
Naka-mute po yata siya.
Okay na.
Sandali,
Yan.
Okay na?
Go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Naka-mute na naman kasi nado-double click niya po.
Yan. Good. All right.
Yan, can you hear me?
Don't touch it anymore. Yes, we can.
All right. Okay. Melo, maraming salamat at nabigyan mo kami uli ng opportunity. No? We were able to bring out major points on the energy sector. What had happened in the past, what were good practices in the past that can continue at the moment, ano yung mga issues na pinakaharap. And then, of course, itong closure ng Shell Refinery, kailangan tutukan to ng Department of Energy. Malaking kumpanya ito that will engage in the business of importation of petroleum product. Ang dami nating Filipino-owned mga kumpanya na engaging in this business. Hopefully, the tawag ba doon? Level the playing field shall continue. Kahit na importer lang yung Shell, we are concerned on whether it will impact on competition, which ultimately will impact on prices. No?
Yeah.
Doon naman po sa discussion natin sa renewable energy, thank you to USEC Wimpy at titingnan nila yung ERC order that had actually increased feed-in tariff retroactive to 2016 instead of bringing it down. In the light of Ayala company investing in Vietnam and India and receiving only less than 2 pesos per kilowatt hour for their renewable energy projects. Of course, lastly, yung sa West Philippine Sea, napanood ko, napakinggan ko yung presentation ni Justice Carpio. No? That was opportunity for me to get an overall picture of what happened in the arbitration. Pero siyempre ako, may nostalgia ako, Melo. No? I started my career doon sa Petroleum Board. Yung naghahanap talaga ng langis. At alam ko na yung lugar na yan ng bansa, yan sa tubig na yan, magaganda talaga ang laman yan. Marami diyang basically natural gas. So pagpatuloy natin yon. And I think kung kailangan buhayin ang PNOC with enabling legislation now sa USMP, it can be done. At least ang PNOC, gobyerno Gobyerno yung magiging kausap ng kabilang bansa na nagkiklaim din sa territory na yan.
Yeah.
Yun lang, Melo. Maraming salamat ha. Maraming salamat.
Okay. Salamat po. Alam po ninyo, isang issue dyan, nung nasa Legazpi kami, may isang barko na magdadala ng petrolyo sa Legazpi. Pero 3 dipo yung sinusuplayan. Sabi ko, bakit ho iisa yung tanker ninyo pero iba-iba kayong kumpanya? Pagkatapos, iba-iba pa presyo. Sabi nung isa, nagkakataloy ka kami sa additives. O di sige. Attorney Jay, what do you see in the near future? Where are we headed? Yes, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Melo, again for accommodating me. Medyo huli ko nakuha yung message. Una siguro, let's start from the top. No? Yung energy issues, no? And energy consumption, production, distribution. The key here to understanding it is this is a technological issue. No? As technology develop, the way we consume, produce, and distribute energy will also change. No? And often, yung technology changes much faster and is always well ahead of policy and legislation. No? And policy and legislation, on the other hand, one of the key problems there is it's also almost always political. No? Somehow political, because the policymakers, the lawmakers are also political in nature. Kaya hindi yan laging nagtutugma, and because of that, lagi ito magiging debatable na issues. No? Any changes, any proposed reforms, any current issues, there will always be a huge debate or controversy over it, no? Because of this. Now, pagdating dun sa renewable energy, tama nga naman yung nasabi ng ating mga speakers, no? There is an opportunity here because nagkaroon ng dip in energy demand and merong potential na mag-reconfigure tuloy yung energy consumption patterns, no? That gives us the opportunity to now look at yung ating production systems, no? And there is a good chance na we can make more room essentially for renewable energies, no? It's just really a matter of having a vision and the imagination to do it, no? And right now, we have that opportunity and we really should use it. No? Pagdating dito sa joint development issues, ang relation niya sa renewables kasi is that of course, yung joint development is about extracting non-renewables, natural gas, no, and oil in the West Philippine Sea. But for now, medyo naantala ngayon. There does not seem to be as much urgency for it from a technical standpoint, no. Even though there is a political incentive to do it, no. We should always keep in mind, no, because this is an energy issue, it will outlast administrations, and we should really pay attention more to the technical side right now, no. Huwag nating madiliin kung hindi kailangan, no. On the other hand, because of that, malaki ngayon ang chance nung ibang sector, renewable particularly, to fill in yung gaps na iiwan nitong petroleum, offshore petroleum, no. Sa ngayon, base dun sa energy plans ng DOE, nakikita ko, actually medyo low yung targets nila for offshore petroleum for until 2040. At ang main expansion really is coal plants and alternative sources, no. So if we want to, syempre coal plants again are another debate, but if we want to promote yung renewables, give it more room essentially to fill in these gaps, no. There is that chance and opportunity right now that we really should take, no. Kaya maganda that we always keep an open mind. So yung tawag ng DOE na parang openness to technological alternatives, yung parang openness to technologies or technology neutral, okay yan, because it gives us that room to explore options and try to develop it, no. And we should, no. In the same way na dun sa joint development, we're trying to explore options, no. Right now, that's what we're doing. Although medyo constrained yung ating space, we can open it up somehow. Pero ganun din sa renewables, especially kasi ito naman yung mas urgent, renewables versus non-renewables, conventional versus alternative. Maganda na yung debate mangyari, no? Gaya and diyan magfa-factor in lahat, technical, political, practical arguments, no. But basta ang importante, when we decide on something, no, we make sure that it lasts, no. It outlasts administrations. It's less politicized. And more technical, more attuned, no, to the long-term needs of our people, no. Kasi hindi pwedeng bumalik tayo sa 1990s na because of political decisions, biglang inabolish ang DOE and then we had that energy crisis. Ganun ang nangyayari pag masyado mong pinoliticize talaga yung energy issues natin, yung energy management. So wag sana mangyari uli yun ngayon, no? So we already have that lesson from the past. Let's maintain it, no? Keep it in mind as we go into the future, no? If we do that, no, as an archipelago, I believe now we have a lot of options and alternatives that are there, open for us to look at and to see, no. And it just takes us to put to use our imagination and maintain our openness, no, to try to solve as many problems as we can. Not all problems will be satisfactorily resolved for all parties. You can't really make everyone happy at the same time, no. But at least we should try to achieve our goals and, you know, help our people as much as we can at every opportunity as we make these kinds of decisions. So thank you, Melo.
Very good. Napakaganda nun. Pero, you know, listening to Attorney J. Batong Bakal, sabi yung kahalagahan ng paggawa ng batas. Wala tayong problema ron. Mahalaga yon. The only problem is when we have businessmen masquerading as lawmakers and lawmakers masquerading as businessmen. You know, during the 70s, that was a long time ago, I was part of the original Enercon generation. Ang kasama ko noon sina Lourdes Molina Fernandez of Business World Today. We even indulged in debates with fellow students talking about the significance of energy conservation. Pero sad to say, along that time, meron ding energy conversation. Puro daldal. Wala naman nangyari. Okay? Sinabi rin ni Attorney J ang kahalagahan ng long-term planning. And this is the problem in the Philippines. When we just focus on medium-term development plans, lahat ng Pangulo gusto may legacy. Pagkatapos niya, bahala na yung papalit. I do recall, there was once a president na sinabihan, magkakaroon tayo ng energy crisis. Ang sagot daw, hayaan mo na yung susunod. Hindi na ako makikialam dyan. But anyway, let's hear it from Undersecretary Wimpy Fuentebella. At siya po ang kinatawan ni Secretary Alcusi. Yes, Yusek, please.
Diyos mabalos, maraming salamat sa pag-imbita sa Department of Energy at mapakinggan yung mga inputs ng ating mga kaibigan sa media at yung mga kasama natin sa panel, no? We are enriched and we are energized by all your inputs and suggestions. Kailangan po talaga magkaroon tayo ng technology neutral approach because at the end of the day, what we need is to protect our consumers where all of us are consumers. And we also have to make sure that our energy policy decisions are not only affected by this generation, but it will affect the future as well. So, in doing so, we have to learn from the experiences ng nakalipas. And we have books to look at. We have the Virata 4 Decades of Economic History. We have the Trailblazing Quest for Energy Resilient Reliance by Jeronimo Velasco. And we have other books also on energy, yung trend ngayon at yung magiging trend in the future. But as far as yung bansa natin is concerned, we want to empower the consumers on the use of renewable energy. We want to empower also yung sector that we have to widen our alternatives to include natural gas, liquefied nat gas, to include other technologies. We also have to empower yung mga transport sector natin on the alternatives and not rely on the petroleum only. So with all this, the Department of Energy continues, and watch out for our mga call for position papers and how we will come up with new policies, especially on the energy efficiency na pinirmahan ni Pangulong Duterte, and we are rolling out the policies there. So the formula is energy efficiency plus renewable energy plus information communication technology. And that's what's happening on the way forward because RE can be utilized with the conventional technologies. So yun lamang po. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po, Diyos Mabalos, Yusek. I'd like to say thank you to Yusek Felix William Fuentebella of the Department of Energy. Siya po ang kinatawan ni Secretary Alcusi, who earlier confirmed his attendance but due to another equally pressing appointment, pinadala po si Yusek Wimpy. Si Attorney Vic Di Magiba ng Laban Consumer, Attorney J. Batong Bakal, ang Associate Dean ng College of Law ng UP. Ganun din po si Ginoong RJ Javellana na Pangulo ng United Filipino Consumers and Commuters. Nakasama rin natin si Ginoong Yeb Sano, Executive Director ng Greenpeace Southeast Asia. Ito po si Melo Acuña, nagpapasalamat sa inyong pakikiisa. At kung meron po kayong mga mungkahi, bukas po kami kung anong mga paksa ang pwede pang pag-usapan. The only problem I have really is when you get very good and competent panelists, the next question is, sino pa kukumbidahin ko? Salamat po. God bless us all. Do take care. Stay safe.